I don't think men are particularly like. Also, I would say the other thing is like I would say most men don't care if you hear a lot of women say, "I want a guy who's funny." Men don't give a fuck if you're funny. If you're funny, great, good for you. But we don't care.
So what do you guys care about?
What do men care about?
Yeah.
I can get into that if you guys want.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit. One of the big things is body count. But so I could give you, I have a list written down if you guys want to.
Oh, this is
okay.
perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
This
Give us
is
the list.
But before I tell you the list, I'd like to just go around the table really quick. Is there a preference, standard, or boundary that you guys think men have that you take issue with?
Like, what do you mean? Can you clarify a bit?
Is there say a guy has a preference for something? It could be a physical trait or it could be a personality trait, characteristic. For example, the body count thing could be one of them. Mm-hmm. I would take an issue. You would say, I have an issue with a guy who has a high body count. Or sorry, I would have an issue with a guy who has an issue with a woman who has a high body count. Or you could say, you could have an issue with a guy who there's a certain physical thing. I'm trying to think, like
small dick.
No. Like
I know what you're
men's preference. Is there a preference, standard, or boundary that men have for women that you think is problematic or you take an issue with? I know body count's probably an obvious one for some of you, but
like
I kind of have an idea. I think when guys only want to date girls that are like much younger than them, because it has to do with control and dominance. When the girl clearly, like when they're much younger, don't really know what's going on yet.
Okay.
They're too young, so they're being manipulated.
So older men who want to date younger women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what are you trying to achieve from that? Like you're trying to manipulate and control them.
Well, I mean, heaven forbid a man find a woman who's at her peak physical attractiveness attractive.
But why is that her peak attractiveness?
Like
Shouldn't that should be
So-
aging with you, should it not?
Well,
They shouldn't just
so
stop.
I mean, and they've done studies on this, but overwhelmingly men find women between the ages of 18 and 25 the most attractive. This is men from the age of 18 to 60.
Did they do for women too, for men's age?
They did. We
What was
actually
that age? 'Cause I'm surprised. I'll be really shocked if it's under 30.
for women
Mm-hmm.
or for women it kind of like matches up
That same
closer
age
to their age. But
Mm.
men, as far as what they find physically attractive, it's 18 to 25. So, I mean, and Tate also gave another reason, body count, someone who's younger.
Yeah.
They've been, someone who's younger also, there's a couple reasons. One of them is actually rooted in biology. So when women reach 35 years old, they're starting to get into high-risk pregnancy age range. And then by the time they're getting into their 40s, 45, the likelihood that a woman can get pregnant is very minuscule or just non-existent. So biologically, evolutionary, men are it's not even something we intellectualize. We are attracted to women who are younger because women who are younger, who have indicators of youth, they are more fertile. So it's in the same way that women are attracted to tall men or physically large men, it's evolutionary. It's because men who are tall or physically large are more capable of protecting you and more capable of providing for you. And this goes back to our fucking caveman days, where you wanted a big partner who was physically large because someone who's physically large is more capable of protecting you.
I think that's about women that aren't able to take care of themselves. I think now times are obviously different. Women are, we're now able to take care of ourselves. So I don't think that's like the case anymore.
Yeah, well, I think, we could go around the panel on this. I mean, would any of you date a man who's shorter than you? Be honest, please, though.
Same height.
Or taller?
Yeah, because I already wore 4-inch platforms every day.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'7" without my platforms.
Okay, how tall was your last boyfriend?
5'7.5".
Oh, okay.
I think.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Ideally, would you like to date a guy who's taller than you?
Ideally, but if the connection is just through the roof, then I think it shouldn't matter yet.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'4", so it's not.
So
that.
5'3", guy? You're giving him a chance? Great connection, but...
If it's really great, but I feel it could be rare. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I want them to be taller, yeah.
Okay.
Taller as well.
Taller as well.
Sure.
Taller for sure.
Esther?
Taller.
Okay.
Taller.
Right.
Definitely.
See, but I don't think anybody bats an eye when women say, I want a guy who's my height or taller, right?
'Cause I don't think there's anything morally wrong with that. But like if like a guy that's like 70 or 60 is wanting to date like a girl that's barely 21, I think there's
A
something
guy
wrong
who's
with that.
how old, 70 or 60?
60, yeah, or something like that. And then the girl's like barely 21. Obviously, there's something wrong with that.
I mean, for that specific example, couldn't you make the argument that it's actually more predatory for the woman to want to date someone that old?
I think
For financial reasons? For a woman to want to date, willing to date someone that old, I mean, love works in
Yeah.
mysterious ways, but I would say overwhelmingly there's going to be a financial component to that sort of relationship.
Still not around to the
Huh?
family,
What's that?
Nothing.
Go ahead. No. Say it.
I mean, that's arguing against a woman gaining a financial gain or a man being a possible pedophile. So I feel like those are just two very different things.
Okay, but I,
Like, P word. Those are two different
a
things.
70-year-old man dating an 18-year-old is not a pedophile.
That is definitely brinking on the fact that you probably did some questionable things in his youth. Yes, if he's still attracted to a woman that young when he's progressed that much,
What about a 21-year-old?
I say the same. Yes.
So 70-year-old who's but again, here's the thing: is that men are evolutionary. It's not even something that we can necessarily control. What men find, the age range men find most physically attractive is 18 to 25. Now, whether a man can actually get a woman who's in that age range if he's older, that's another question. But I'd say if it was up to most men do find that age range the most physically attractive.
I think
And I'm
finding
just
it
saying that's
attractive
weird.
is fine, but
It's
like
creepy.
pursuing it is the problem because men are
What?
we're not animals anymore. So
We're not animals.
It's like
Well,
I'm only 22 and I can look at a kid who's 16 90% of the time and I'm like, damn, they look like they're 12 or something like crazy already. So it's
okay,
like
but you
if
said
an 80-year-old
16. You said 16.
I know because I'm
we're
only
talking-
22. I know because I'm only 22. So even like an 18-year-old, for instance, okay,
Sure.
let's make it legal, 18-year-old. I can see majority 18-year-olds. Like even when I walked into this room and saw all these girls, I was like, holy shit, I'm hella old compared to these girls here. Or an 18-year-old man. So it's the older you get, the more child-liking the younger somebody gets. So it's like, that's why it is creepy to me. Because if you were 80 years old still attracted to a 20-year-old, you were probably 20 years old attracted to someone under the age of 18 and higher up is my point.
Sure. I mean, the 70 to 21-year-old example, I mean, that's pretty rare, but like, so would you take, also I want to ask this, do you take issue with the reverse? So cougars,
Yes.
you take issue with cougars.
It's the same amount of it's still predatory no matter the gender.
Why? I disagree with you that it's predatory. I don't see how it's predatory.
That's fine.